Welcome to this explainer. Okay, today we are uncovering something honestly mind-blowing about how your mind and body actually operate. Most of us, we think that when a heavy mood hits, we just have to wait it out and cross our fingers that it passes. But what if I told you there's a built-in switch right inside you? We're diving into some highly specific biological hacks that can literally flip a mood from heavy to light. And no, we aren't talking about like hours of therapy or some intense 20-minute meditation. We're talking about shifting your entire emotional state in seconds.
To kick things off, let me ask you a really honest question. How do you currently handle a bad mood? Think about it. When a sudden wave of anxiety or frustration or just that kind of general flatness hits out of nowhere in the middle of your day, what is your default reaction? Really, how do you instinctively react when a bad feeling completely crashes the party?
Well, for most of us, our instinctual responses fall into a pretty predictable cycle. We basically play the waiting game. We push through the day, gritting our teeth. Maybe we distract ourselves. We endlessly scroll our phones, just kind of waiting and hoping for the bad feeling to eventually fade away on its own. But here's the massive problem with doing this. These standard instinctual responses, they absolutely steal hours of your day. They keep you trapped in this cycle that eventually just leaves you feeling way more depleted and exhausted than when you started.
But here is a total paradigm shift, something nobody ever really teaches us. Your brain actually has a built-in emotional reset system. You completely do not need to sit around and wait for a bad mood to magically pass. You can use specific, scientifically proven inputs to shift your state in mere seconds. It's this brilliant biological mechanism sitting right there, literally just waiting for you to take control of it.
So, here's our roadmap for this explainer. First, we'll break the physical lock. Second, we'll explore the humming reset. And finally, we'll look at the welcome response.
All right, let's dive into section 1, break the physical lock. Okay, the very first thing we absolutely need to understand is that emotions aren't just in your head, they are deeply physical experiences. And this brings us to the James Lange theory. It's actually one of the most consistently replicated findings in all of psychology. See, we normally assume our brain feels an emotion and then tells our body how to react physically. But the James Lange theory proves it's totally a two-way street. Your body actively sends physical signals back up to your brain, telling it what emotional state it's currently in. So your posture is quite literally locking that low emotional state in place. Just notice the stark physical contrast when we experience different moods. In a low mood, your body is completely contracted, right? Shoulders are rounded, chest is closed off, your breathing gets super shallow. But Harvard researchers looking at embodied cognition found that adopting an expansive, open physical posture for as little as 2 minutes produces measurable changes in your actual hormones. Cortisol, that pesky stress hormone, drops. Testosterone and confidence naturally rise. By interrupting your physical posture, you are actively interrupting the emotional state itself. It's a real game changer. So, here is your first direct action prompt. The very next time your mood suddenly drops, do this 30-second posture reset immediately. Seriously, don't wait until you feel like it. First, stand up right away. Second, roll your shoulders back as far as they'll go and open your chest completely. Third, take the biggest breath you possibly can and let it out nice and slow. And finally, shake your hands loose at your sides for 5 seconds, almost like you're shaking water off your fingers. This really quick sequence sends a direct, undeniable physical signal right to your brain that the contracted, low-energy state is officially over.
Moving right along to section 2, the humming reset.
Now, this technique builds beautifully on the idea of using the body, but it works entirely silently through your nervous system. You can literally do this without anyone around you even knowing it's happening. To understand why this works, we need to meet the vagus nerve. This is the longest nerve in your body. It runs all the way from your brainstem down through your heart, your lungs, and your digestive system. Just think of it as the ultimate communication highway between your brain and your body. And crucially, it's the master regulator of your parasympathetic nervous system. That's the system that's entirely responsible for calm, recovery, and creating a genuine feeling of safety. When your vagus nerve is suppressed, which naturally happens under stress or when you're in a low mood, your positive neurochemicals totally drop and you literally feel worse. However, when that vagus nerve is active and well-toned, your brain produces this incredible flood of serotonin and oxytocin. Those are the neurochemicals directly associated with true, genuine contentment. So activating this nerve creates a massive flood of real, positive feelings. So how exactly do we reliably activate it? The secret is the power of vocal toning.
Dr. Stephen Porges' polyvagal theory has completely transformed how neuroscientists understand the human nervous system today. What he found was that vocal toning, things like simple humming, vibrates the vagus nerve directly through the muscles and tissues of your throat and chest. And this triggers an immediate parasympathetic response, producing rapid, highly measurable shifts in your heart rate variability. You're essentially vibrating your nervous system right back into a state of calm.
And honestly, the most amazing part of all this? 60 seconds. That is the absolute maximum amount of time it takes. Humming is literally one of the fastest known activators of the vagus nerve. You absolutely do not need some long 20-minute quiet session. It takes a maximum of 60 seconds to execute this biological hack and totally shift your state.
Let's look at exactly how to execute this humming action. The next time that heavy flatness settles in, just find a quick moment to yourself. Step 1, close your eyes and keep your lips completely closed. Step 2, hum one sustained note. And don't worry, you don't need to be musical at all, just make a steady sound. Step 3, hold it for as long as one single breath allows, really feeling that vibration right in your chest. Step 4, breathe in and repeat this cycle exactly 5 times. By that 5th hum, your nervous system will have measurably shifted your entire emotional baseline.
All right, let's head into our final section, Section 3, the welcome response.
I completely acknowledge that your absolute natural instinct is to fight against bad feelings when they show up, but we really need to look at why that backfires so badly. The crucial point here is understanding the amygdala's alarm system. Some groundbreaking research in effective neuroscience out of UCLA found something truly fascinating. When you fight or try to suppress a negative emotional experience, your amygdala, which is basically your brain's ultimate threat detection and alarm system, remains highly activated for significantly longer. Fighting a feeling literally tells your amygdala that the threat is still present and still dangerous. And this is exactly why the bad feeling either intensifies or just stubbornly persists despite your absolute best efforts to make it stop.
So, the biological alternative to fighting is a process called affect labeling. This is simply the act of naming and accepting a feeling without any resistance. When you do this, researchers found that amygdala activation dropped measurably within mere minutes. Why does this happen? Because affect labeling proves to your brain that the threat has actually been assessed. Your brain simply turns off the alarm, and this allows the emotion to complete its natural cycle, rather than being abruptly interrupted and forced to restart.
Decades before affective neuroscience could actually map this out in a lab, the brilliant psychologist Carl Rogers described it perfectly. He said, "The curious paradox is that when I accept myself just as I am, then I can change. When an emotion is fully, truly accepted, it no longer needs to fight for your attention. And when it doesn't have to fight, it just naturally moves through you exactly the way it was always designed to."
Which brings us to the exact phrase you need to adopt for this to work. You are welcome here. Now, I know it sounds a little bit like surrender. It kind of sounds like you're literally giving the bad feeling permission to stay and totally ruin your day. But you aren't, I promise. Introducing this exact phrase is actually a powerful, genuine act of self-compassion that literally disarms your brain's alarm system when bad feelings arise.
So here is your final action prompt, the welcome action. The very next time a bad feeling hits, before you immediately reach for your phone or tell yourself to just grit your teeth and push through, follow these 3 simple steps. 1. Stop and take one single deep breath. 2. Name the feeling out loud or just in your head, like frustration, sadness, or emptiness. 3. Say, "You are welcome here," and truly, actually mean it. Empower yourself to just stop forcing the emotion away and watch how cleanly and quickly it begins to move right through you.
Let's wrap up with a final thought for you to carry forward today. What would change today if you completely stopped fighting your difficult emotions and used your biology to reset instead? Think about it. You now have the science and the exact steps, breaking the physical lock, the humming reset, and the welcome response. I strongly encourage you to actively apply these neuroscience tools the next time you feel a mood drop and truly take back